Tamika Radio Show. The Tamika Radio Show. The Tamika Radio Show. Tamika Radio Show.
Susan, how are you doing tonight?
Hi, I'm amazing. Thank you, and thank you so much for having me.
I love hearing that you're doing amazing. I love that. And I'm really excited to have you on the show. Susan, let's jump right into it. Tell us about your company, S. Charlie Productions.
Well, it's actually pronounced S. Charlie, so we actually pronounce the dot in there. So it's S. Charlie.
That's creative.
Thank you. It's S. Charlie Productions, and we're a baby company. We've been around for the past 2 years, only officially over the last year. It's a small group of them. I have an executive producer, Darryl Richardson, who also has a sound production company, and he's executive producing this project. It's myself. I have a production manager, stage manager, Denise Reed, and my musical director, Karen Saber. So we've been working together for the past 2 years, and so far we've done 3 productions, and this is our second time around doing Blue, and we just decided to amp it up and just do it at a whole nother level on the Broadway level in Philly. So that's what we're doing.
Broadway in Philly. I love that. Now, Susan, I love the fact that in your productions, you always are able to kind of take a spin, and you take something that may be a story that we may have thought we've seen before, and you give it a brand new twist. For example, I know in 2011 you did the play A Cinderella Story, Caribbean style. So I love that, and I wanted to ask you, for every budding playwright out there, how did you come to find your niche in theater?
I think it started when I was in high school. I went to John Bartram High School in Southwest Philadelphia, and because we were in a city school, we were able to have, the city fund different programs, and we were in the Arts and Humanities program, and so our teacher, Jeanette Jimenez, she did such an amazing job of exposing us to the arts. We went to operas. We were able to connect with Society Hill Playhouse in Center City at 8th and Lombard. And just their style of writing really influenced, what I do now, because they were able to do the same thing, take amazing stories and just give them a whole completely different twist. And as high school kids, we were able to write and produce and perform our own productions. And that's kind of where the passion for theater and the arts sparked in me. So that's kind of where it
I love that. I just love how you've really been able to work your gifts. I know Rena used that phrase in the last segment. I love how you're working your gifts. And, you actually mentioned your team. I mean, you have a whole team behind you, and a lot of playwrights don't have that. So, how were you able to actually pull together a team of, songwriters and song engineers? How are you able to pull those people together to know that this was going to take, as you just said, your production from one level and take it to the next level?
Just being able to, just in my circle of people, and sometimes we're surrounded by people who are so incredibly talented, and I'm very much about going after, your passion and really pursuing the things that you're passionate about. I know, the day that we live in, who wants to be miserable working a 9 to 5? We do what we have to do, but, inside of all of us, like you were saying in the previous segment, is such a desire for something. There's something that God has gifted us with that is a burning desire for us. And so being able to tap into that within my circle of influence and within my circle of friends is how we were able to come up with this amazing team of people, most of whom I had relationships with before. We decided to, take on this artistic and business endeavor. And so, just tapping into the resources that were already available and just reaching out to the people who I was already connected to and saying, hey, here's this vision that I have. Are you interested? And I'm so blessed to be able to say that, they ride hard. And, they saw the vision, and we connect so well. I can call my musical director and say, hey, can you give me a song to go bump, 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 and she'll write it, produce it, and it's exactly what was in my mind. So I have to say that I'm so grateful to God, because I know that I'm incredibly blessed to have people behind me, with me, beside me, that are going forth and that are pursuing my personal vision like it's their own.
And I love that. And, the one thing I like is the fact that you said, you looked within yourself. You looked with those people that were already within. And, I want to know, what are your thoughts? Why do you feel like we feel as though we have to go over the highways and the byways? And I just took us back to old time church. But why do we have to go to the highways and byways to find qualified people? Why don't more people connect with those that are close to them, and honestly, those that you really can trust? Why do you think people do that?
Right.
Why don't we see the talent that's right there in front of us?
Right. And I was just having this conversation earlier with our executive producer. I was saying to him that, sometimes we as people, and even us, African Americans, we do want to go after those who seem like they're already established, because at the end of the day, it's work. You know what I mean? It's really, really hard work, and you have to be really committed and really dedicated to be able to be successful no matter what you do. And some people just aren't willing to put in the work, so they want the hook up, they want the connect, they want, somebody whose name they can drop, to be able to grab the attention of other people. But we decided, even with casting this project, that we didn't want to use, we weren't going to go after any, even local celebrities. We weren't going to go after anybody that everybody knows or that's already in the acting circle, because, there's an inner circle to everything. There's like a church inner circle, and there's a gospel singer inner circle, and there's an actor inner circle that I've learned over the last year. And so we said, we're going to find some raw talent. We're going to find some people that we haven't seen at everything and haven't been all over the place, and just really, really want to commit to doing an awesome project. And we were able to do that. And so I was saying to him, I think it's so much more fulfilling to be able to find new talent, and maybe a couple of years down the road, we'll see them on the big screen or hear them on the radio and say, wow, we remember, when we were able to work with such and such. So to me, that's a lot more fulfilling than trying to, find somebody that's already been put on, so to say.
Yeah, and I do. I love that. And, honestly, I know a lot of times I like to work with people that I know are going to be committed. They're going to be committed to coming to rehearsals and what have you.
Absolutely.
And a lot of times finding raw talent, and I'm sure you probably have the same experience, honestly, they kind of do what you want them to do.
Right.
Like you give them a direction, they generally take it very well. So for the seasoned veterans out there, sometimes it's good to not go into it thinking you know everything. Because sometimes that's, I love that. Well, talk to us about your newest production. Talk to us about Blue. What is Blue about?
Well, Blue's my baby, and Blue it's a musical, and it is set in the mid-1950s, during the time when the civil rights movement was really picking up. It's set in Baltimore, Maryland, is the city that we chose as our backdrop, and it's a story of a middle-aged woman. She works as a maid, and she kind of reaches a place in her life where she's almost forced to face the truth about herself. And so the production follows her path from being bound and being secretive and just living this, mundane life and not really being free. And we go on a journey with her to finding her inner freedom. So that's really what it's about. And the title comes from, in the story, as you can see on the flyer, she's forced to face her daughter, who, as when she comes into the show, we see that she's mixed. And, of course, that's not a big deal now. She's of mixed race. She's biracial. And no big deal now, but, of course, in the 1950s, that was major. And when she comes, her daughter is African American looking. She looks biracial, but her eyes are blue. And so,
I love it.
Yes. So they call her Blue. So Blue is the name of her daughter. And it was inspired by one of my favorite books by Toni Morrison. The story is completely different, but one of my favorite books and favorite authors, Toni Morrison, wrote a book that I read in high school called The Bluest Eye. And my high school teacher was
that book.
Love it. And she was a professor of African American female authors, and so that's all we read. You know, Toni Morrison, Ntozake Shange, Alice Walker, all of those amazing, amazing writers. And so that was my inspiration for writing this story, and it's such an amazing story. The singing is amazing. The songs are all original. The only song that we do that's not an original, we do Etta James, All I Could Do Was Cry. But everything else is all original music. So, yes,
well,
it is full out 50s.
Yes.
50s costumes, 50s hair, makeup, just the whole nine.
And for anyone that has not gone to scharlieproductions.com, you need to go there because you have an incredible trailer on here. I mean, it looks like a movie trailer that's on here for the show. I'm going to tell you, I'm excited to be in the building at the end of this month. So for anyone that wants to join, I mean, the phone lines are lighting up already. But I'm telling you, if you want to be in here, then you definitely want to make sure that you call in. I want to ask you, was it difficult to write a story based in the 50s now? You know, in terms of, like you said, the whole backdrop is the 50s in terms of clothing and hair. Was it difficult for you to, you know, even take the language and things like that and change it from being 2013?
You know what? For some reason, and the 50s is one of my favorite time periods because of the fashion and the kind of innocence, even though we know that there was so much going on with segregation and race relations, but America was still in this place of, you know, innocence and, you know, you watch your language and you watch your manners and, you know, the ladies were very ladylike and the gentlemen were very gentlemanlike and everybody was dressed to the T all day. So it's one of my favorite time periods. So I absolutely enjoyed being able to write for that time period. And Betty Page Clothing is one of our sponsors who's providing the costuming. They have a store even in Philadelphia. They have stores all over the country. Amazing, amazing pieces, you know, dresses and hats and gloves. And so it was easy for me because I love the time period. I love time period movies. So, you know, that wasn't really the hard part.
Yeah.
We have time period music. It's just gonna be awesome. People are coming in their full 50s gala, so please come dressed up and let's take your picture.
Yes, honey. I'm gonna tell you, it's one of my favorite time periods as well. I mean, it's definitely one of those the times when things really began to shift. You know, for African Americans all over the country.
Absolutely.
And I know for me as a child, I just devoured, and we're both 80s babies. You know, so I just devoured books about, like, the Little Rock Nine and, you know, things like that.
Yes.
So I am particularly thrilled to be there. Well, tell us about, you know, your cast. I mean, we definitely got to give them some airplay. Talk to us about your cast.
Absolutely.
We have
an amazingly talented cast. We have in our lead character, her name is Jackie Burris. And I have clips of her on. You can go to YouTube and you can YouTube Blue Stage Play. You'll see our trailer. We have two trailers. We have a teaser and a trailer. And you'll see both of those. And yes, ma'am. You'll also be able to see clips of rehearsals and, you know, clips of some of the singing. So Jackie Burris, an amazing. And I mean, she came in and saved the day for me because originally I had someone else playing that part when we did it the first time, and this time around the person wasn't able to do the production again, and we kind of found out late in the planning stages, and she came in and she auditioned. Ma'am, I was stressed. So someone suggested her. She came to the audition. She was the only person who had memorized the monologue that I sent out. She killed her song and a professional, but she's sweet. She is the nicest person, takes direction like none other. If you ever, anybody listening, you're working on a production and you need somebody, please hit up Jacqueline Burris. She's amazing. We also have in our character Blue, her name is Lisa Alexandria, beautiful young lady.